Hello, my kako. My name is Hualālai Chung, and I am the voice of Moni from Moana 2, and this is Young Entertainment.
Here at Young Entertainment, we are all about masterclass moments and getting the opportunity to learn from actors in the field, such as yourself. So I would love to know for Moana 2, what was the audition process like for you?
Well, I think there's such a an idea that when you do animation, you do animated films that it's just your voice, which in this case it was not so. When we had to audition, we had to act out the scene as if it was a live action film. Because a
Mm.
lot of times when you're in the booth, recording animation, they'll have cameras set up to kind of take on kind of like your facial structure and how you interact with the lines and how you interact in a scene. And it actually helps animators create your character and bring your character more to life.
Yeah, yeah. That sounds so cool. It sounds really difficult. How do you even begin to have a conversation with someone who you can't see, who isn't even there? What's that like?
Like I'm really grateful that we had amazing directors, producers, and writers that did an incredible job in setting us up to be able to visualize the scenes, being able to visualize where we're at, the conditions of the weather, who we're talking to, how far they are. They would be so detail oriented in building this world in our head. So it was as if we could close our eyes and we would see ourselves there.
Wow, that is amazing.
Yeah.
And you talked about building the world, but what about those one-on-one character moments? How are you able to really build up that chemistry?
Like I think one of the cool things is that when doing animation, you bank up a lot of different scenarios and a lot of different, I guess you could say styles and tones of how that scene could go.
Mhm.
So when, in the production aspect of it, we would do every scene potentially 20 to 30 times, just so that as story progresses, as the animation progresses, and they could see different opportunities to touch someone's heart or to make someone laugh, they would use different takes that would really amplify that mood.
So, wow. So it sounds like you would just do it multiple different times, and depending what felt right for that scene and moment, you went with it.
Yeah, totally, totally.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
No.
It's actually one of the coolest things when we got to watch the film for the first time was getting to sit back and remember every single scene and remember every line and remember doing it 20 times and then
Mhm.
being like, oh, they went with that style of that. Oh, okay, this is way funnier than I even ever thought. So yeah, that
Yeah.
was good fun.
Awesome. I can imagine what that's like. Just being like, okay, I wonder which one they ended up going with. And be like, okay, they picked a good one.
Yeah, 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 totally, totally.
Now, obviously, this is Moana 2. Were you a fan of Moana before you even got the chance to be a part of Moana 2?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm Polynesian of Native Hawaiian ancestry, so to see a film and a story like Moana's come out that represents our people, it was so huge and so momentous for us. Years ago when it first came out. So even more so to be part of the second film, we have directors that are Samoan, we have animators who are Polynesian. The majority of our cast is Polynesian descent, with the exception of Alan Tudyk, who voices Hey Hey. Um, so it's been such a prideful moment to be part of a story that embraces our culture and embraces the concepts of community and self-growth. And then even in my own life to see, such a growth in career and in just like passion pursuits, and to be surrounded by such of the same community that the story is amplifying.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people definitely felt that way when they heard Moana was being made, and then the movie actually came out, and they got to see some of the Polynesian heritage play out on screen. I know that they were definitely touched and moved, and I think I can speak for a lot of people when I say that, seeing someone that reminds you of yourself, your own heritage, is always amazing to see on screen, whether you're an actor or someone who just consumes media.
Yeah, totally. I think there were so many commercial aspects of Polynesian culture that have circulated through the world, like historically. And
Mhm.
now we get to see so many storytellers that are passionate about the culture and passionate about the details of our culture, bring it to life. That was one of the things that was so emotional for me watching the film the first time, was getting to see all these different elements of our culture that I've known since I was a kid, whether it be ceremony, plants, arts and crafts, so on and so forth, being um, beautifully, beautifully represented in such a film.
Yeah. And are there any specifics that you can talk about from Moana, Moana 2, that are very true to Polynesian heritage that you actually saw on screen? That when people look at it, they should say to themselves, ah, that's true to life. Like that's exactly
Yeah,
what.
yeah, 100%. There's a portion which there's a portion of the film where you see what we call a kava ceremony. Kava was a ceremonial drink of our ancestral people, and
Mhm.
it was a very communal ceremony that would be performed in many, many honoring occasions. And you see the details of the technique of how the kava is mixed and prepared, and even how it's served. There's so much cultural integrity around these practices, and it's completely like identically displayed in the film.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have to ask, if you had seen the script or seen a piece of the film from Moana 2 and you felt like it wasn't accurate, do you feel like you would have been open enough to say, are we sure about this? I don't really feel like that's something my character would say. That's not really true to life and true to my culture.
You know, the beautiful thing about working on this film was I never had that issue. We have um the film and Disney has created something that we call the Oceanic Cultural Trust, and which was uh, a compilation of a series of cultural advisors from all across the Pacific that continued to pour their mana, their spirit, and their honor into this film. So by the time everything had come to us, everything was well looked over, everything was well advised upon, and at that same token, I was given the freedom to be Moni on occasions. Um, I'm really grateful that our directors really felt that I was a representation of Moni, and that I was Moni. So there would be many occasions where they would say, like, you can change this if you want, just let us know, and we can make it work, on the back end. But uh, for the most part, I never ran into such an issue on this film, and it was so refreshing to actually see things in the script that I wouldn't have thought would have been in there, and to be like, oh wow, we're doing this. This is crazy.
Yeah, that's actually really amazing to hear. I love to know that, things are, as you said, done with integrity and purpose, and that you didn't have any worries coming into this. And throughout the process, it felt right to you.
Yeah, totally. I mean, even like looking at our cast, to see names throughout the Pacific that I've known as talent that I've seen growing up, aside from Auli'i and Dwayne, you have amazing talents like Nicole Scherzinger, Temuera Morrison, Gerald Ramsey, Afimai Frazier, David Fonne, Rose Matafeo, and of course our princess of all, Khaleesi Lambert Suda, who voices Simea. And we're all, like we've all elevated in our lives, but we're all homegrown Polynesian people,
Mm.
straight from the Isles, straight from the mud, as we love to say. So it's so refreshing to share in this experience and to share in the pride of being who we are with these people.
Yeah, I love that. I love hearing all of this. And
Yeah.
at what point in this experience for this particular film did you actually get to see what Moni was going to look like? And when you did, what did you think?
So when I first auditioned,
Mm.
I didn't know what I was auditioning for. It was a completely like, yeah, kudos to Disney. They do an amazing job at keeping things under the hat. But yeah, I didn't know what I was auditioning for. The we had gotten the audition materials, and it had said that it was for a animated project showcasing Polynesian culture based out of California, and a Los Angeles studio. And like over here, like we of course we think like, oh, potentially this is Moana, but I think we're so like in love with just what's happening in the now that sometimes it's overwhelming to think of those types of things and think of the height of a project, and we just kind of brush it off and be like, ah, no, there's no way it could be Moana. So I auditioned for it, and they had, came back about 3 to 4 weeks later, and that was when I had found out that it was for Walt Disney Animation, and immediately everything clicked. And we had sat down and had what was called a meet and greet. And prior to them actually showing me anything, they asked me to just kind of tell them who I was, and I just said, I'm a homegrown Hawaii local boy that loves to play music and sing and hang out with my friends and perform. I'm a Polynesian dancer, and when I'm not doing all those things, I'm probably stuck out in the middle of the bay because my boat motor decided not to work. And they said, like, wow, you literally just kind of described the character of Moni, and we didn't even tell you who he is or what this project is or whatever. To which then they did, and they started showing me a series of storyboards and sketches and mock-ups of the character. And I loved immediately seeing Moni because there are so many people in my life that he looks like, so just to see like how the representation was so spot on, you know, uh, yeah, was huge, entirely huge. And I mean, like, um, he's such a big guy with such a big heart, a big smile that it's like it's impossible not to fall in love with him.
Would you say that that's definitely you, big heart and everything?
I try to be. I try as much as I can to be, life is short. You gotta love on everybody as much as you can.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
definitely agree.
yeah.
Now, you talked a little bit about performing,
Mhm.
and we saw that you did a fire dance for the premiere in honor of Moana 2. Can you tell us what is fire dancing? How do you get into it? I mean, it looks amazing and scary. Um,
Yeah.
so kudos to you, but yeah, I'd love to hear about that.
Thank you. Yeah. So fire it's considered fire knife dancing, and the two terms, the two cultural names for it is, one we call it Siva Nifo'oti, which is the dance of the bladed sword or the toothed club and weapon, or Siva Afi, which is dance with fire. And we say fire knife dancing because there is actually a knife on it. So it is about a almost about a 3 foot long baton, you could say, with a 2 foot handle, and then about a 1 foot machete blade with a big hook at the end. And so many people see an object or a weapon like that, and are kind of puzzled how that came to be. But it's actually a modernized representation of a traditional Samoan weapon called the ailau, or the nifoti. And basically this weapon was this long clubbed bladed handheld weapon that had a long, maybe about a foot long hook at the end, so that if you were to swing at your opponents and miss, you could gouge them on the way back, so the Siva Ilau, or the Siva Nifoti, was performed in traditional Samoa, kind of in two fashions. One was, as a pre-war ritual to kind of like showcase their skills and their talents to kind of intimidate their opponents, but also was used at the end of battle or in big village celebrations to kind of be of a celebratory dance, um, to show victory and to show pride in being Samoan. It was in the 1950s and 60s that a few men paved the way, by the name of, Freddie Ololetuli Pulefano Ngalea'i and Tafili Ngalea'i, by fastening particle board and towel to each side, soaking it in gasoline and sparking it up on fire. And ever since then, that has been one of the pinnacle elements of any big Polynesian performance. Um, I got into it because my parents have been in the entertainment industry here in Hawaii for a long time, quite specifically to Polynesian entertainment. So since I was a kid, I would be, running around showrooms, running around luau and everything, and just watching, meeting all the uncles and aunties that danced on stage and played music and everything. But it was, like when you're an infant, you don't really remember that many memories, core memories. But there's one, I will say, I feel like I can remember it like it was yesterday. And this had to have been right after I was born, maybe like within the year of being born. And I was sitting on my mom's lap in a showroom in Waikiki, and my dad was emceeing that show and had announced the fire knife performer that night. And prior to the performer going up on stage, he came straight to my mom and I and grabbed his fire knife and rubbed some of the black, like charred soot off of the knife, and gave me my own little like war paint as like a baby, and then went up on stage, lit his knife, and performed. And I think it was that moment that I really, really fell in love with performing that because of, it's such an exhilarating dance that everybody loves, but also it makes everybody feel so proud in Polynesia. When you see fire knife dancing, that's when all the chihus and all the faumus come out and the drums are loud and it's always exciting. So to have been able to kick off this week's festivities by doing that, and showcasing that and my passion in it for everybody was huge and was such an honor.
Wow. That sounds really cool. And it sounds like from your family and you, performing is in your blood. It sounds like you started at a really young age. And I imagine, with animation, it's very different. It has a bit of a more technical side to it. Is there anything you learned from doing animation, that you learned that you can hopefully take with you to other aspects of your performing life?
Yeah, totally. I think the world of animation, like it simply put, has made me more animated, and has made me more expressive.
Mm,
Um, but more importantly, the cool thing with animation is especially Disney animation, is that there's always a sense of strong, strong heart in all of the films. Um, and growing up being such a big Disney kid, I think I've gotten to see, in my own life as well as like my family members and just people around the world. I mean, we see it all the time that Disney has this way of making people feel like included, making people feel loved, making people feel seen. And that is something that I want to take with me forever in my performance aspect. Like I always want to perform, whether I'm in a movie, whether I'm playing music somewhere, whether I'm fire knife dancing, whether I'm on the press line doing an interview. I always want to make sure that people feel that I'm sincere and that they're feeling seen. Um, Even if it's in a few words, like that is something that can really change a million people's lives and you have no idea. So in every way, shape, or form, I think that's probably the biggest lesson that I've taken from working on an animated film.
That's really beautiful. That's
Yeah.
beautiful, yeah.
Thank you.
And I have no doubt that when people see this movie, they're going to see that come through in your character of Moni. And what is your favorite part about playing Moni? What do you want fans to know about him and about you performing as him?
Like I tell everybody that Moni is everyone's like best friend. He is so warm-hearted, he's whimsical, he's fun-loving, even so goofy to the point he doesn't know what's going on around him. He's obviously like an obsessive fan of Maui, which I am, if I can just say, I am so grateful that I could keep my composure last night when meeting Dwayne for the first time.
Oh.
That I wasn't geeking out like Moni was with Maui. But the thing that I'm the most proud of with Moni's, character and being able to be Moni is that Moni is the historian and the storyteller of Motunui. That's where he served his purpose. And he is, aside from being incredibly like strong and being recruited to be an oarsman, his passion is telling some of the most amazing stories of Motunui and its people. And now in Moana 2, he gets to be in one.
Mm.
And that's something that I resonate with, so heavily. I remember walking down Main Street, um, and looking at everything that Disney does and how Disney makes people feel, and just thinking like, man, if there was ever an opportunity to, I don't know, like pair up my love for my culture with what Disney does, that would be such a dream come true. So when we got that call, I nearly lost my mind. So that's definitely a way that I really resonate with Moni and that we really connect. And yeah, I think everybody's gonna love him.
Yeah, I haven't even seen it. I already love him based on things that you're saying. So I'm super excited to see the film. And
Oh,
you
thank you,
said,
thank you.
yeah, you said yesterday was your first time meeting Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I'm guessing
Hmm.
it was probably your first time meeting Ali as well.
No, so Ali actually graduated from the same high school that I did, a few years after than I, but she's the same thing. She's out there in LA and New York, like living her hustle life and doing all the things, but she's a homegrown girl, so she'll take every opportunity to come back here and plant her feet in the sand. So, I've had the opportunity to meet up with her a few times. It makes it that much easier too because her other half is a good friend of mine. So,
Oh.
like this island is so small that we connect so well with people, regardless where they're at. And yeah, I've had the opportunity to meet Auli'i before, but yes, yesterday was definitely my first time meeting Dwayne, and we got the opportunity to have a small conversation backstage, and he's such an inspiration. Both of them are such inspirations to our people, and being so loud and unapologetic to be Polynesian, and that's something that a lot of us take with a lot of pride and that we're super motivated by.
Yeah, that sounds super cool. Wow, same high school, friends with her person. Like that's pretty cool. I love that. What
Yeah.
would you say on this film was the most challenging part for you? And how did you overcome it?
I think, like one of the things that was the most challenging, honestly, is not placing too much pressure on myself. Like being that this is the second, this the sequel animated film to Moana. There aren't very many featured like animated sequels that come out of Walt Disney Animation per se. It is a bit of a newer concept, so I feel like there's a lot of hype, and we do place a lot of pressure on ourselves when working on such a film. Plus, we want to put our people on the map, and I want to represent Polynesia and the Pacific so well. And like even it wasn't even just us that placed this pressure on ourselves. It was the entire staff. And the
Mm,
more that we got to meet everybody and talk to everybody and see how hard our animators were working, how hard our special effects people were working, how, many late nights our writers and directors and producers would have, and even our amazing music team. Um, we say in Hawaii, it was a kako effort. It was such a collective effort, and it's what really made us feel a bit more relaxed and feel calm, because it was all of us. There's a concept that comes out of Samoa that's called Fa Samoa, which is the Samoan way, and it's this idea of we all do our part and we all do it together, or we don't do it at all. And that was, such a resounding tone of the entire process working on this film. And I would go into every single session and have this like anxiety and have this like kind of fear that I wasn't going to hold up, my end of the bargain. And
mm.
to see that everybody was working so hard, um, and also reassuring me that I was working just as hard, was what made me feel good about my time on the film, and what makes me feel good about being part of the film.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. Having an entire community to not only help build you up, but let you know, like, you know what, you're a part of this, you're doing a great
Mhm.
job. It sounds like it was a really amazing experience. And
Yeah,
I'm sure,
totally.
yeah, every day you came in, you had your lines to do, and I know you said that you felt nervous, but when you got a little bit more relaxed, was there an opportunity for you to kind of just have some fun and improv some things?
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, we have so many little like quirky things culturally here in the Pacific that we say, like phrases. I mean, you folks have probably heard of a chihu, and like, or we say a faumu, which is like that call. So being able to like let those out on occasion, and like we had three directors, we had a series of producers, we had a series of added writers. So everybody would get to come with a different perspective. And every time we would get to read through scenes from those separate perspectives, it gave us an opportunity to kind of have a bit more fun.
Mm.
So in those moments, yeah, we would get to like, improv a little bit, say something a little different, say something a little different tone and mood wise. And yeah, all in all, it was super fun.
That sounds really cool. I like that. Now, you had talked a little bit earlier about being a part of Disney and what amazing of a process this was. Was there anything you learned about Disney that you didn't know before when you joined this show?
I am quite the Disney fan. So I will say that I've geeked out on Disney things for a while. And even like in the animation process, Disney had put out a docu-series a few years ago, I believe, called Into the Unknown, which is it talks about the process of making Frozen 2. And they
Mm.
documented the entire almost year, last final year of making the film, from storyboarding to serious, like production meetings where they had to cut songs and cut scenes, and you really got to see the nitty-gritty of things. So I went into this project being such a fangirl of like all of that, and being like, oh my gosh, I get to live out into the unknown like in real life. This is crazy. Um, but I will say, if there's anything about working for Disney that maybe I had an idea of, but I didn't understand the weight of, is, like I was saying earlier, just really how invested everyone gets. This is very obviously a Pacific Island culture that's being showcased, but there are so many people in the production staff and crew of this film that aren't Polynesian descent and aren't Polynesian cultured, but have fallen in love with the story and have given themselves so much to creating this story to be a true representation of who our people are and who we are, but more so to be a great representation of what Moana's story is and
Mhm.
what Moana's themes are, of evolution of self, and to not let the barriers of society and the world like keep you from going, you know, beyond, to keep you from going beyond into what your heart desires and who you feel like you could be. And getting to meet everyone, like I in every session I would get to meet maybe with 10 to 15 of our crew and staff, via Zoom, because I'd work on it remotely here in Hawaii. But I had the opportunity to fly up to Burbank a couple times and have sessions at the studio and do press events. And every time I would go, that would be one of my things, was I want to meet people. Like, I want to meet animators. I want to meet Foley artists. I want to meet, um, like hand-drawn animators. I want to meet sound designers, music team. And every single time that I would meet somebody, it was almost like overwhelmingly so that I would get so blown away at how passionate they were, not just about what they do, but about this film and about Moana's story. And it's something that would kind of just kick myself every night, when I'd be up there, either going back to my hotel or even, by the time I'd get back to Hawaii, as to like, holy moly, this is way bigger than I even could even have imagined. Like, this is way I still wake up every morning and can't believe, what's happening.
Oh, aw. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we are definitely glad that you're a part of it. It seems like you loved it. And I also heard that you were going to be part of the live action Lilo and Stitch. So I think you are officially a part of the Disney family at this point. So that's pretty amazing. I think that is wonderful. And I'd love to do some rapid fire Disney favorite questions with you, if you don't mind.
Okay. Yeah, totally. Let's do it.
All right, let's get into it. What is your favorite Disney movie?
Hunchback.
Interesting choice.
It's a bit
Who-
dark, but it has such a strong like story about just like loving on someone regardless, of whatever. And I don't know, I resonate with that. Plus, I
No,
love
I
the music.
totally get that. It's all about what's on the inside and not the outside. And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
we should keep that in mind for sure.
yeah.
Okay. Who is your favorite Disney prince?
Ooh, favorite Disney prince, Prince Naveen,
Mm.
because he thinks he's so smooth, and he is one of the goofiest guys ever, but he's just so passionate.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what about Disney princess?
Oh, Moana all the way. Although there is the argument that Moana is not a Disney princess. So for me, I will side either way, but my interpretation of Moana is that she is what we call a mana wahine, which is just a
Mm.
woman of power here in the
Mm.
islands. So outside of Moana, I think I'd have to say my favorite Disney princess would be, I think we'll go with Cinderella.
Ooh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, that. What about favorite Disney sidekick?
Favorite Disney sidekick. Whew. Either Olaf or Mushu. But I think if I were to be like going into a battle or going into a storm or a big journey, I would have to take Hey because he's been through the gauntlet and comes out completely unscathed on the other side. So if you're with him, like, you should be fine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just throw him
Yeah.
in the front. You'll be like, he'll be fine, he'll be fine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, how about your favorite Disney song?
Favorite Disney song. Oh, Sorry, I gotta plug it out there. Beyond. When everybody gets to hear Auli'i crush Beyond in Moana 2, it is such an impactful song. Plus, Emily Bear and Abigail Barlow are crazy amazing songwriters, and they've done so much in inspiring my music journey. And I know that, what they do is going to inspire so many others.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I really appreciate you coming to talk to Young Entertainment today. And, maybe if you're free, you'll come and talk to us later about the live action Lilo and Stitch when we get closer to it.
Mahalo, everybody. I'm Hualālai Chung, the voice of Moni in Moana 2. And don't forget to subscribe to Young Entertainment. Mahalo.